So welcome to all of the bhaktas here. We'll do a quick review of chapter 13 before we begin chapter 14. So this final 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the focus is shifting from Bhakti Yoga to Jnana Yoga. That is that knowledge that will help you detach yourself from the material world and become attached to Krishna. In essence, that knowledge that is necessary for you to perform Bhakti Yoga. So this is actually the context of the Jnana Yoga here. So you will see Krishna presenting logical arguments that allow us, the readers, to deepen and strengthen our conviction and our understanding. And this whole chapter begins with Arjuna asking a question. What is Prakriti? Who is Purusha? What is Kshetra? Who is Kshetrajna? Then what is Jnana? And what is Jnayam? So the object of knowledge, Jnayam, is the supreme. Prakriti is nature. Purusha means enjoyer. Kshetra means the field of activities, which is this body. Kshetrajna means the knower of the field, which is, there are two knowers, the soul and the super soul. Jnanam has everything to do with Krishna. Any knowledge separated from Krishna is considered ignorance. Any knowledge connected to Krishna is jnana. So this is the process of slowly learning about the transcendental items of knowledge. So Krishna talks about humility being the foundation of all knowledge. So without humility, you cannot approach the transcendental science. Because humility says that I don't know everything and I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn from somebody who is in touch with Krishna. So humility is paramount for knowledge to be revealed to us. So wisdom isn't merely about acquiring information and memorizing it. Wisdom is about using that knowledge to build your personal character and for it to influence how you actually conduct yourself in day-to-day life. So essentially, Krishna is encouraging us to inculcate saintly qualities in us. Only when we practice these saintly qualities will there be a transformation. When there is transformation, you will get profound realizations. So we should stop identifying so much with this body and start identifying with the Supreme Lord. So there is always this tug of war. Is character important or is competence important? Character is important. So competence anybody can build and develop through training. But character is unique because it suggests that you have devoted your life to developing saintly qualities, godly qualities like devotion, love, wisdom, vision, having a compassionate heart to help others. So Krishna then talks about the soul and the super soul. There are two functions that the super soul performs in one of the shlokas that we read yesterday. Upadrashta, Anumanta. Upadrashta means the Lord permits you to do what you desire to do. And then Anumanta. Then Krishna also oversees what you do. So he is the permitter and the overseer. In general, this is the function of the Paramatma. But specifically, if you want to access deeper knowledge from the Paramatma, then the Lord says in the 15th chapter, from me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Krishna is saying, between Prakriti and Purusha, Purusha will always be the enjoyer. So the two subject matters that Krishna focuses on out of the 6 questions that Arjuna has asked. Prakriti and Purusha, Krishna talks about from shlokas 20 to 35. Prakriti binds us to this material world. If we understand that Krishna is the sole enjoyer because he is the ultimate Purusha, he is Purusha Uttama, that is why chapter 15 is called Purushottama Yoga. We are meant to do everything for the satisfaction of Krishna And when Krishna enjoys himself, we automatically enjoy as well. So our enjoyment is connected to Krishna's enjoyment. If we try to enjoy separately from Krishna, we cannot enjoy. It will lead to suffering. But if we enjoy by pleasing Krishna, then that is the greatest kind of enjoyment. That kind of enjoyment is everlasting. It is ever increasing. It never dies, this kind of enjoyment. So that enjoyment is called bliss. So when you're connected to Krishna, you experience bliss. There are different rasas in which we are serving the Lord: the Shanta ras, Dasya ras, Sakhya ras, Vatsalya ras, and Madhurya ras. These are all rasas or mellows, or you could say varieties of enjoyment. You can enjoy a relationship with Krishna in any one of these rasas. So while generally speaking, the world is telling you God is very far away, somewhere far away, why should we worry? He's so far away, we cannot access. So why bother about some personality that's sitting so far away from you? But the Gita is teaching us the God is very near to you because he is seated within you as Paramatma. If you want to access him, you can access him very easily. So yes, the Lord is far away for those who don't want him. The Lord is very near for those who want him in their life. So the correct answer is that the Lord is seated within our hearts. He need not be far away. That's what we mean. You can access God within you because he's seated within you. So you can experience the Lord within. So that being said, let's look at the 14th chapter. So the 13th chapter, single word summary is, what was on the poster? Was it attorney? Was that the single word summary for the 13th chapter? So today we're looking at chapter 14. Essentially in the 13th chapter, Krishna is saying, I know you're trapped in this jail. And I know you need help to get out of this jail. I'm ready to help you. I'm sitting as your attorney within your heart. You just have to access me. Then I will act as your attorney and fight on your behalf to get you out of this material world. So in the 14th chapter, Krishna is going to talk about an interesting topic called gunas. These gunas are the three modes. They're always racing with each other for prominence. And these are the actions in the three modes, as well as transcending the modes. These are the topics for today, 4 sections. So let's quickly review this. So in the 9th shloka, Krishna is introducing, actually he's already introduced gunas, but he's going to get into the details of Sattvagun, Rajagun and Tamam. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati rajah karmani bharata jnanamavritya tuttamaha pramade sanjayatyuta. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruitive action. And ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. So in a very short shloka, Krishna is stating those who are under the influence of Sattvagun, they stay in that guna because they are happy. They are happy and satisfied. Those who are in Rajagun, they are always running, chasing things because they are chasing goals, chasing desires. And this is an endless activity. So they are always busy running here, running there, running here, running there, doing this, doing that. They don't have time for scriptures or for spiritual path. Tamogun, Krishna says, that completely covers your knowledge and therefore you will act like as if you're mad. And more details will come later on of Krishna's explanation of these 3 gunas. So this is Sattvagun, Rajagun and Tamogun. And we can use a simple example. In Sattvagun, the family is generally very happy because all of their desires are being fulfilled. They don't engage in a lot of sinful activities. They try to avoid sinful activities. And they may do a little bit of spiritual activities also in their life. Therefore, they are content. So Krishna is saying, even if you are content and happy, it is not sufficient for you to come back to the spiritual world. Because you are so happy, you are not understanding that you're suffering here in this world. Just because you are happy, because no suffering is there in your life, you never ask, what's the purpose of my life? Why was I born? Where am I supposed to be? Who is God? Who am I? So that means even Sattva Gun cannot help you cross over from the material world into the spiritual world. That means there must be something beyond Sattva Gun that Krishna wants you to practice. So Sattva Gun conditions you to happiness. That's what Krishna says. It trains you that you will only go chasing happiness and comfort. And as long as you get that happiness and comfort, you're not worried about spiritual life at all. You're not asking the deeper questions that Arjuna is asking in the Bhagavad. Whereas in Rajagun, everybody is busy. Children are busy doing their own thing. Mother is doing own thing. Father is doing own thing. The pets are doing their own things. Grandparents are doing their own things. Everybody is busy in their personal life. So this is a very active family. Lot of activities, lot of do-do lists. You know, a huge schedule may be set up. If I from waking up to going to bed, it's all scheduled. From this time to this time, this will happen. From that time to that time, this will. But they're predominantly driven to satisfy their desires. Therefore, this is Rajogun. And the family somehow manages to survive. In Tamogun, they will always have fights, always arguments, always who's right, who's wrong. They may be addicted to alcohol, drugs, and a lot of other illicit activities. So such kind of people do not make any advancement because they actually don't even realize. They don't even realize that they're mad. That's the sad part of those who are under the influence of Tamogun. They don't think they are under Tamogun, even though they are conducting themselves that way. So they are in, that's why Krishna says they are in total madness. I mean, to you and me, they may look like sane people, but in Krishna's eyes, they're totally mad because they're just surviving. So if you look at the three gunas and what kind of activities they may be engaged in, like right from books to food to what time of the day they prefer to what kind of jobs they prefer. So the gunas influence also the kind of work that you do. So those under Sattvagun, maybe they prefer to read non-fiction. Those who are in Rajagun, because they want to be excited all the time, they want romance, they want suspense. So they may be more interested in reading horror novels or science fiction. And those who are under the influence of Tamogun, well, they may be visiting websites that we tell our children they should never visit. They may be reading books we tell our children they should never read. So such is the taste buds for the Tamogun people when it comes to books. What about jobs? People who are generally in the mode of goodness prefer teaching jobs. Whereas people in the mode of Rajogun, for them, money is the most important thing. They don't care what kind of job as long as that job pays big bucks. So their thing is money is honey. And therefore, they're willing to sacrifice anything to make that extra 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh, like that. Whereas for Tamoguna people, they may be engaged in jobs that is selling alcohol, distributing drugs. So all kinds of objectionable jobs they would be engaged. What about the time of day? Generally speaking, people in Sattvagun prefer early morning hours. People in Rajogun prefer afternoon hours when the sun is right overhead. That makes you really active. And people in Tamogun prefer to stay awake all night and be asleep during the daytime. Food. People in Sattvagun generally prefer vegetarian food, which is full of life, which is juicy. People under Rajagun prefer spicy food. It is too hot, too salty, too bitter, like that. People under the influence of Tamogun eat foods that are spoiled, rotten, that's untouchable. So the word guna actually means a rope. So imagine three ropes that are intertwined with each other. How strong that rope would become. So if you looked at that previous table, you will know not all of us are in always Sattvagun or always Rajagun or always Tamogun. So some activities we are doing Sattvagun, some activities under the influence of Rajagun, some activities under the influence of Tamogun. So Krishna is going to say, these gunas are competing to dominate you. Sometimes you are under the influence of Sattvagun, sometimes under Rajagun, sometimes under Tamogun. So they take turns dominating. Because you're so satisfied being happy, because he's so happy and everything is going well in his life, he thinks, well, why should I obey the orders of the Lord? I'm happy on my own. Thank you very much. I don't need God in my life. So even people under Sattvagun may have this belief system that God is not important. As long as I'm happy, it does not matter. People in Rajagun, because they are passionate about following their desires, because his desires are so loud, it drowns out the voice of Paramatma. He cannot hear Paramatma because he's too busy. People under the influence of Tamogun, since they are lazy, since they are ignorant, he also does not hear Paramatma because he's completely lost. So here Krishna is saying that the three gunas are always racing with each other. Rajas tamas chabhibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajas sattvam tamas jaiva tamas sattvam rajas tatha. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So Krishna is saying, the Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun, they are fighting with each other to dominate you. So you are never steady. Sometimes up, sometimes chasing things, sometimes down, sometimes lazy. So you see how powerful the gunas are. That is why around 70 or almost 200 shlokas, Krishna talks about gunas. So you can understand how important gunas are and why Krishna is speaking so exclusively on gunas is to give you a warning that if you don't fight this or if you don't regulate your life, you're going to struggle like this. Sometimes Sattvagun, sometimes Raja. So when the influence of Sattvagun increases, then maybe once in a while you may pick up the Bhagavad Gita and read it because you're so happy. Otherwise, generally you're happy and content, therefore you don't aspire for anything. But when Rajogun increases, what happens? It may take you downwards to Tamogun because you're so busy, you're undergoing so much stress. Slowly, you'll start drinking alcohol, you'll start doing drugs because the stress you're not able to manage. You become angry, you may get engaged in gambling. So from Sattvagun, you can come down to Rajagun. From Rajagun, you can come down to Tamogun very, very fast. This is the danger that Krishna is identifying. So when Tamogun increases, you are completely in a mad state of drinking, working hard, drinking, working hard, like that, you know. So when we are influenced by the lower guns, if we refrain from doing the activities in these modes, then that itself can save us from a lot of troubles down the road. So here Krishna is saying, Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha madhye tishtanti rajasaha chaganya guna vrittistha adho gachanti tamasaha. Krishna is now telling what is the result of being under the influence of one of the gunas predominant. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. So the destination for those who are predominantly under the influence of Sattva-guna, for them, Krishna is saying, they go to the heavenly planets. The destination for those who are in the mode of passion, they live on the earthly planets, which means if they have to take birth again, they will come back to the earthly planets. And for those who are predominantly under the influence of Tamogun, what is their destination? They will go to the hellish worlds. So Krishna is also warning you by saying, if you are under the influence of any one of these three gunas, what your destination is going to be. Nowhere here is the destination of the spiritual world listed. That means even for Sattva-gun, you don't go to the spiritual world. You can only go to the higher planetary systems where the enjoyment is more. Therefore, Krishna has told us in 8th chapter, we should prepare ourselves for death because that's the final exam. We want to go back to the spiritual world and we have a choice. If we make the right choice, then we can go back to the spiritual world. Because the human form is so rare. There are more animals and insects and plants on all the planets put together than there are human beings. So human beings are a very rare species. Therefore, the Shastras say we should take advantage of it because in human form, we can practice spirituality and go back to Krishna. So this is a shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th chapter, 17th shloka. Nridehamadyam sulabham sudurlabham lavam sukalpam guru karna dharam mayanukulena nabhasvate ritam puman bhavadbhim nataret sa atmaha. The human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature, although it is a very rare achievement. Sudurlabham, meaning it is very, very rare to get a human form. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds to push that boat in the right direction, to help the spiritual master guide the boat into the spiritual world. So this human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds, impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. Atmaha. You are actually killing your own soul by depriving it of an opportunity to stay connected to Krishna. So when you disconnect from Krishna, it is spiritual suicide. That is essentially what the shloka is saying. So we should not be foolish and commit this kind of suicide. We should be ready and willing, as the Lord says in chapter 3, to work for his pleasure. So death is not the end of suffering. It will continue to the next journey because you will just take another body. So we, on the other hand, want to go back to the spiritual world, to God's own country, Goloka. So that means you should get onto the right flight. No, you can't go to the airport and say any flight will take me to my destination. No, that's not true. You can't go to the train station and say I can get into any station, it will take me to the destination that I desire. Different trains go to different destination, different flights go to different destination. So if we care about the destination, then we'll care about practicing the right sadhana to achieve that destination. So how do you achieve that destination? Because Krishna has told you the negative impacts of Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamogun. Now he's going to give you the solution also. He says we should actually transcend or rise above the three gunas. Gunane tanati tyatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhaihi vimukto mritamashnuте. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. That means Krishna is saying, if you want to become free from the cycle of birth and death, and if you want to enjoy that spiritual nectar in this life itself, you have to learn to rise above Sattvagun. So what is this rising above Sattvagun? It is called the Shuddha Sattvagun. So when you practice Krishna consciousness, then you are in Shuddha Sattvagun. So we don't have to worry about anything else. So how do you get to the state of Shuddha Sattvagun? Very simple. Krishna says, perform bhakti. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhujaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So at least to come to the level of Brahman, Krishna is saying, Bhakti yogena sevate. Do bhakti. Bhakti involves some very simple activities. Offering bhoga to the Lord, worshipping Tulsi Maharani, offering flowers to the Lord, worshipping the Lord, offering your obeisances to Him, remembering Him by reading the Bhagavad Gita, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore, our goal in life is to achieve the Shuddha Sattva state. Even though Karna is considered to be very, very generous, and even if he was born of good birth, still because of his associating with Duryodhana, he underwent failure. He underwent tribulations. Therefore, your gunas are also influenced by the people who you associate with. So you can also act in anger for the satisfaction of the Lord. When Hanumanji's tail was set on fire, he just jumped from building to building, and in this way, he was also serving the Lord, but in anger. So even anger can be used in the service of the Lord. So what to speak of being good? So Jadabharat was unfazed. We spoke about Jadabharat already. So he deliberately acted like a madman, although he was a self-realized soul. But only those who could recognize a self-realized soul will know this. So King Rahugana understood that this Jadabharat was no ordinary person. He was a self-realized soul. It was the third time that Bharat Maharaj took birth, then as a deer, then as Jadabharat. So here in the 14th chapter, Krishna is telling us about the three gunas and how they influence our lives, and how by practicing Bhakti Yoga, we can actually overcome these three gunas. So we'll stop here.